we have with us Mr. Atul Marathe sir. He has 30 plus years experience in the industry, and now he is delivering sessions and giving consultancies for the projects like research projects and expertise in the industrial innovation and etc. Okay. I request sir to give brief introduction about him by himself.
Good morning everyone.
Good morning sir.
Okay, first of all, let me introduce myself. I am an engineer by profession, not a finance expert, nor an MBA. I have done BTech from IIT Bombay in mechanical engineering, and after that I have done nothing in mechanical engineering. So I have done in software all the time. So that was one big problem in my CV when I come to colleges. That you are a mechanical engineer by degree, but you don't know mechanical engineering. So that's another. I know software more or less. And then after software, after BTech, I did industrial engineering, which is more specific engineering. That also I didn't use anywhere in life later on. But after retirement, I realized that engineering I can use now. Because after completing all the jobs in software, after taking a retirement, I took up a consultancy at a place called Center for Industry 4.0. Because Industry 4.0 is a new upcoming technology, IoT, AI, ML, all that. So Center for Industry 4.0 called me, they said, sir, can you consult us on something that we are doing? So yes, what is it that you are doing? We are doing IoT for small scale, medium scale industry, etc. Can you help us? I said, yes, I can help you. And they found that I am the best person suited because I know mechanical engineering, I know industrial engineering, and I know software. And I didn't tell them that I don't know anything about mechanical engineering or that, but they said, I have a degree, so don't worry. So I have that. That's how it worked. Today, I was supposed to take a session on finance management. It is not my qualification at all, again, if you ask me. But right from the 1990s, I have been interested in finance because I realized that engineers have a big problem, they don't know finance. Since all of you are MBA students, I thought let me talk to MBA students. Earlier my objective of the session was to talk to faculty, how to manage finances. Because I believe that faculty also don't know how to manage finances. Engineers definitely don't know. Chartered accountants know, but I can't teach them because they are experts in finance. So obviously I can't go and teach them. But I think I know equivalently what they know. And that's my own guess, I would say. But yes, that's where I am today. So today, I would not like to take the session on personal finance management for you because I believe it is too early for your age to know how to manage finances. But this is something you need maybe while you are in the job in 2 to 3 years. But given the current generation, I know that what I teach you today, you will not remember after 3 years. So there is no point asking you, okay, remember it. If you have some queries on that, I can definitely tell you. If you have any other queries on what kind of career options you have, I can tell you. Because another technology which I have learned in the past, after retirement again, is blockchain technology, which is one of the technologies used in cryptocurrencies and all kinds of bitcoins and stuff like that. So I know that technology very well. I know the theory behind it, the engineering behind it, and the software behind it. You can say, not how to trade in bitcoins. Bitcoin is, by the way, you know the current rate? Bitcoin? How much is it? Huh? Roughly. It changes every day, just like stock market prices. Any idea Bitcoin? One Bitcoin equal to how much? 1 CR? Yes. Today the value of the Bitcoin in the world is around $125,000 US dollars per day. So that's the way it is. I started learning Bitcoin in 2017 or 2018 when it was less than $1,000. So it has gone from $1,000 to $125,000 in the last 6-8 years. And before that, 2009 was the time Bitcoin started in the first place. So it was not very old. 2010 was the first time somebody did a transaction in Bitcoin. You know that famous transaction? There was an expert from the Bitcoin community who had started this Bitcoin business, and he went to eat a pizza in US. And he went to the pizza owner and said, I don't have money, but I have Bitcoin. And the owner said, what is this Bitcoin? I have no idea what is it.
All are requested to be
this fellow said that, sorry, I don't have money, but I can give you 2 at once. Another time, no, I don't have any system. Pocket में खाके जाने वाले सीखो रेंट ले रहा है. ये take fee है, you want, give me whatever you are giving. I don't know what you are giving. He gave him 2 bitcoins on the computer, and this fellow kept it. And after so many years, he realized, अरे उसने 2 bitcoin दिया था, that has so much value now. So that's how the order became as it is. That's a real life story. So you can, what I am suggesting to you all is, there are new technologies which are coming up, new things which are coming up. What will click in the world, you never know. And with more and more world geopolitical equations, wars, all this happening, all these cryptocurrencies are likely to gain much more and the US dollar is likely to go down. So all of those who are interested in finance, I think you should be aware of this. The US dollar is likely to be not the great currency in the world. It is already a bogus currency because it was World Bank earlier. Now it is not. So there is no reason for the world to believe in US dollar. It is not World Bank. So you might be retailing in something else. And Bitcoin is one of the most promising one which a lot of people are believing in today. That's why it has gone there and there are a lot of details about it in case you want to know. So our session, I would say yes. If you don't have any questions, I would like to talk to you a little bit about personal finances, but I know it's too early for you to understand. But still I might talk if you don't have anything to ask. If you have anything to ask, it will be better. Whatever related topics you want to ask in MBA, it could be finance, it could be software, it could be whatever engineering, or it could be marketing or something, I know the list. But yes, it could be. I was a consultant and a sales support person, I would say, for ERP products. So I understand that least, but yes, I always marketing teams quite close for selling ERP.
And exhalation to out by taking your tongue out. Continue.
सर लावलाय फोन बंद करायला सांगतो बंद करायला फोन लावलाय सेंट्रल लेवल रोंगे सरांच्या ऑफिसपासून आहे ते
So if you have any queries to ask, see the other thing which I was telling your HOD madam also is that if you are really interested in learning, everything is available on the internet. That's my belief these days. You go to AI tool, ask a question, you get the answer. So what can I tell you more? I am not an AI tool, right? I am not ChatGPT. I don't know what ChatGPT can answer you. And you have that tool with you. So what is that you want to ask me? You should first try to find out what kind of questions can I ask an experienced person who can tell from experience which I don't get as a general information on ChatGPT. That's the way you have to think. All the students have to think and do it. When you think of a lecture, right? Old days are gone. Our days were a long time old days when we didn't have internet also. The only option we had was to listen in the class or to go to the library and read something. And some obsolete books are available in the library and you could read it from them and tell. The faculty had a little bit more knowledge than the library because they were a little younger. They had learned a bit later after the books were printed. So they had better knowledge. You have the knowledge of internet now. So you don't need a faculty to tell you. The internet tells you more than that. You have to have queries of your own. You have to have some doubts. What do I do about this? And then who can answer it? Which internet cannot answer. It's not easy for you. I would say think of that. If nothing else in this session, sit and think of what kind of question can I ask this fellow standing here. Whether I know the answer or not, don't worry. I may not know the answer also, but it will help your ability to ask the right questions. And the first question you ask yourself is this answer available on ChatGPT? If yes, don't ask me. Right? Because you are not testing me against ChatGPT. I am not claiming to be better than that. First disclaimer, I don't know as ChatGPT knows. So if you ask me, I can use ChatGPT, right? I can also open it and tell you the answer. Would you like that? If I don't know the answer, I will like. Because if I believe ChatGPT does it, I'll tell you. If I believe ChatGPT doesn't answer such questions, I will try to answer myself based on my experience. Okay? So let's start with that. Think of what kind of questions you want to ask related to yourself, your career, whatever you want to do, or whatever you want to know in life. And first open ChatGPT. If it is giving you an answer, don't ask. All of you have mobile phone? Good. Open them. Whatever question comes to your mind, ChatGPT has to answer. If it answers, don't ask me. Everybody knows answer. Good.
Which will be
Ask something else.
continued for 8 minutes. You have to concentrate only on exhalation with stroke to the stomach. Continue.
new age, that is a basic necessity. I am reading a lot on education reforms because I am interested in education. And the first thing that I read everywhere is now rote learning is not required because ChatGPT tells you. What is required is asking the right kind of questions which will help you to grow your career. And then trying to find answers to those questions. So if you don't have any questions, nothing. You must have in the world. Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. I am Amina. Me and my team is working on a software and we are facing some problem, mobile network problem.
Okay.
So what kind of help you can give us, advice?
Okay. You are building a software and you are facing some kind of problems in that.
That is the mobile network in our rural areas. So what advice you will give for the software?
Okay, first of all, you are trying to create a software, right? And it is going to be used by people on the mobile phones in the rural areas.
Yes, sir.
So what is the answer to that, if you ask me?
Sir, I want the solution for the core network, mobile network in that area.
Good. If you have a solution for a poor network area, as to how to improve it, yes, it's a very great idea.
No, sir.
Yes. You want to know how to do that?
Yes.
Okay. There is no simple answer to that because the only answer to that is for the government to increase the infrastructure. That is the only answer to that. Because I have been to other countries, I have been to US, I have been to so many places. They also have network issues. Not that US doesn't have network issues. Network issues are everywhere in the world. They have lesser network issues than what we have. But the only answer to network issue is the infrastructure. So one of the ways to look at it is how to increase the number of towers. Okay, the wireless towers. Use the Airtel, Vodafone, Jio, whatever. One is the tower setup, one is the cable setup. You can have a cable also. So the only way this works is, again it's a question of cost. It's a finance issue. All these companies can come to a place where there is enough revenue. So unless there is enough revenue, unless there are a lot of people who have a demand for this kind of a network, the network will not come there. For that you need to have money again. So everything comes down to that. Wherever there is money, everything else comes. So if there is no money in some place, either you have to find a person who gets money there and then everything comes there, or it will not come. So there is no technical solution to that. It's a pure economic solution. How much in the area in India can be covered by fantastic network? All the area. What is required for that? Money. Where does the money come from? Subscribers. If there is no subscriber, if you sit in a field saying that I am a poor farmer, I have nothing, government will give me subsidy, then only I will pay the FSC, I will pay the mobile bill. It will not happen till the government decides to pay that bill for everybody around that. If the government tells tomorrow that in this area every farmer will get mobile free, all mobile companies will come here because government is paying them. Otherwise it will not happen. So there is no simple answer to that. There are some technical answers to that. Yes, some people are trying that. For example, recently I read something that somebody has invented a new mobile tower which is a directed signal. It is the normal towers you find this broadcast everywhere around it. So now they have created a beam like something structure. So the mobile signal can be beamed to some place. And that's a technology. I am not to the details of that electronics, how it works, but yes. So if you want some remote places to be connected by mobile, you can look at these kind of technologies that are available, make more research on that. And if you're from a bigger city, you can beam that to some place. It will work. In the Himalayas, some people have tried that. I read one more article on that. They had some reflectors mechanism on the hills because the hill doesn't have this range for mobile towers. It gets into shadows behind hills. So what some people have done, again it's a practice, I would say it's an experiment. Some people said that put a mobile tower on some place and all the places where you have the shadow regions, you create reflectors on the other hills around it. And the reflector will reflect the mobile signal onto the valleys. And they claim that it has come to some valleys and so on. So these are some of the techniques to use where you don't have to have repeater stations or something. But how the mobile signal can be reflected, how it can be beamed somewhere, are some of the ways to try out for this solution in my opinion. Again, I am not an expert on that. But maybe you can look in this direction to see what people have done. Because yes, I understand it's a problem. and no application will run unless you have connectivity. But as I was telling you, this issue comes in US also. If you go to national parks, for example, I have been there. Those are remote places in the jungle. Remote connectivity simply does not come. Means even though US people are so mad that they can't drive without a Google map, so they use that. I went with my daughter movie, and she said, no dad, this national park doesn't have connectivity, so you have to download that map first. So they are smart enough. They download the map locally on their machine and then it works because the downloaded map works. And then you get the map and go. It doesn't give you the direction, but you can at least go. So that's another smarter way of using Google, at least Google Maps, on places where network doesn't work. They have a download, local map download, but it doesn't work with every application. Only Google Maps does that. Now, if your application has such idea, you might do it. For example, I tell you, the government of India has done that for banking. When you do mobile banking or remote banking or something, they realize that a lot of places you can't do that kind of banking because signal is not there. So what UID has done fantastically, they use that SMS message. SMS works because I think it works offline also. Sometimes whenever signal you get, that SMS goes. So you can work with SMS. It's a non-real time, but it's a sort of batch or I would say periodic, because sometimes you get a signal. But then the banks have come with a system that if you want to do banking transactions lower than some threshold amount, for example, if your bank balance is supposed to be 5,000 rupees, let's say the minimum, then if you want to do a 2,000 rupees transaction or 1,000 rupees transaction, then you might do it on an SMS based mobile without connectivity. Because then that is locally accepted, yeah, oh yeah, transaction, but the transaction didn't reach the bank. But they take that risk. Okay, sometime it will reach, and then hopefully you will have the money balance, etc. So that you will not do 2,000 transactions one after another, 20, one after another, and so on and so forth. Something like that they do. So yes, that is another way of trying to do a batch mode operation for that instead of real time. If your application can do something like that, believing, trusting somebody, it's a trust. But yes, it works for smaller areas and for some amount, for some risk it works. So that risk reward equation you have to see if it works. Everything is not related to money all the time in life. If you can do something, people are okay with it. They don't cheat. It's like saying that everybody is not a cheater all the time. So you believe in somebody. If they tell you that I have bank balance,
stop now. Let's start Anulom Vilom, which will be continued for 8 minutes.
Some idea to give.
Slowly inhalation to one side of nose and exhalation to other side. Continue.
Can you repeat?
Did I answer your question to some extent?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes, that's a good question to ask. Because it's not as simple answer to find out Google. Good. Any other questions you have? Anything you would like to ask? Anyone interested in personal finance, because that's the topic I was supposed to take today?
So today we are dependent on our parents, but in 1 to 2 years we are on our money. So my question is, how can we invest early better for future?
Let me get your question correctly. You said you are dependent on your parents right now.
But in 1 to 2 years we are on our money, earning money in future. We get job.
Yes.
So my question is, how can we start investing?
Okay. Okay, first thing, before you start investing, I would suggest that when it comes to finance management, it is not only investing. First thing you have to study while you are at college also is you are getting some money from your parents, let us say, pocket money, you call it whatever. So there is a way to allocate it to certain expenses. I find a lot of people who tell me that if I have money in my pocket, it just goes away. Oh, खर्चा हो जाता है ना? खर्चा कैसा हो जाता है? What is your brain doing? So that is what controlling yourself and try to allocate the money. So you should know that I have X amount of money. How much I am willing to spend on how much in a month, and do I really do that? Approximately, not 100% correctly, but so much on food, so much on entertainment, so much on something. Are you doing that? You could try to get applications also. I have another college where I go and some students are building an app on that. And I asked them, how are you doing? So पहला आंसर आता है AI based. Wonderful. AI based क्या करते हो? They said we get so many messages, you know sir, we do payment on GPay, WhatsApp, all that. We get all messages, collect all the messages and from that analyze what you are doing. Wonderful, if you can do that, great. So they said we don't have to do anything. That's another thing I found with most of the students today. They don't want to do anything first of all. It's just automatic only. So AI based only automatic. They're good. If you can do it, great. So they said what we will do is we will collect all the messages that come out in our SMS or whatever apps, and based on that messages, AI will tell us that so much you spend on this, so much you spend on that. So wonderful. Only thing I told them is while you are doing all this, try to keep a simple sanity check कि वो SMS का total जितना आता है वो तुम्हारा balance total है. If it matches one to one with that, that's good. Otherwise you will get a big gap. The X money I got and the total of all these SMS is only Y. So X minus Y का क्या होगा वो I am not too sure whether you get everything on SMS. If you get it, great. I am not against it. So you don't have to do any work for that. Once you write an AI tool, it might do that. I don't know how exactly that AI tool will work, etc. But think, yes, there is some way of doing it. The AI tool should analyze why I spend this, where I spend this, whether it is related to food, whether it is related to something else. If it is good, find out, do it. There are 2-3 exceptions. So that is one part of finance management. Second part of investing is, yes, you need to know what is your risk profile. I would have tried to learn that. You can do a Google search to know what is your risk profile. The risk profile basically tells you what kind of a person you are. Whether you are happy with taking big risk in life or not taking big risk in life. There are a lot of people who say bank FD is the best. Within that, State Bank of India FD is the best. क्योंकि State Bank ने पैसा नहीं दिया आपको तो भारत सरकार पैसा नहीं देगा. That's one given equation. Yes, correct. If State Bank FD is gone, it doesn't pay you, that means the Government of India cannot pay you. State Bank is linked to Government of India straight away. So that's the safest FD in the world, in India at least. So if you do bank FDs, they are safe. Not any other cooperative bank, by the way. State Bank of India and nationalized banks. If you do any other bank, they are dangerous. They can get down. Cooperative banks are the most infamous ones. If you go to any other Sahakari, Samstha, etc., those are all dangerous. So that's the least. If you want the highest risk, go to Bitcoin. That is the most risky thing in the world. You never know what is happening to it. In between, there are a lot of things. You can go to mutual fund, you can go to debentures, you can go to share market. There are different things. But all of this, I would suggest that at a college level, while you are doing all this, I would say first try to get your personal finances in the sense that what is your income and what is your expense. That is the first management you need to know. How much I am going to earn and how much I am spending. How much I want to save. Typical equations for very youngsters, I would say, is you should be able to save at least 10 to 20% of your earnings in the first few years, not later. Later on you might go up to 50, 60. But first few years, try to save at least 10% of what you earn. And then with what you do with the 10%, this is the question you have based on your risk profile. Okay, so that way you can start. Before earning, you can start expense management. Because if you say that I want to save 10%, you have to manage 90%. And then that 90% becomes difficult to manage unless you do expense management better. So start learning that. My personal way of doing it, I do it all the time, is I take the bank statement and then based on that I categorize. And I have an annual output. It's not monthly or daily that I can do. Annually you have to find out because there are a lot of things you do annually. Mostly. You don't need to do beyond annually. So 1 year there are a lot of things which are annually paid. So you look at it how much you spend on everything per year. Not per day, per month, that is not required. Total for a year. So you find out total for a year, how much you earn, how much you spend on what. Like you can define your own rules. कि food पे कितना, clothing पे कितना, insurance पे कितना, rent पे कितना, travel पे कितना, entertainment with your heads, what do you want to define, and try to get a reasonable number in there. Again, the only thing I would suggest every time is try to make it as a cash flow statement, which is known as finance. That is income equal to outcome. Or your bank balance must exactly tally this to the last rupee. So if there is some discrepancy, you must always put miscellaneous. कि ये पता नहीं क्या हुआ. That's fine. You have income and then you have all the expenses head and then some expenses are not adding up all this, remaining in miscellaneous. As long as your miscellaneous is less than 5-10%, don't worry about it. There is no point spending too much headache to क्या हुआ. छोड़ो, कुछ तो किया. But if you are going 25-30%, then you have to worry about it. Miscellaneous क्या है? Because you can't spend 25% on miscellaneous. right? 5-10% here and there, okay. You need not be an accountant to be correct to the last decimal. That's a waste of time. But always put miscellaneous to know what is the total. Total tally नहीं होता है तो छोड़ने नहीं देना. Tally करने का miscellaneous. That's the way. Do that. And I would suggest that once you start earning or saving more than 5 to 10 lakh rupees in the current situation, then you look at all these different options. Till that time, MBA is good enough. If you don't know anything else. If you know something else, great. You can do it. If you don't know, that's fine. I have been lucky enough because the first job that I did and I think the first year of my job, my boss was an expert in stock market trading. I was not. So he called me. He said, "Atul, come here." He gave me a form of some
You can stop now.
public issue.
Let's start Marmari plus Shitli, which will be continued for 3 minutes. Inhalation through mouth and during exhalation, sound should be made like Brahma. Continue.
So that was the first time I got introduced. He said this is the application form for an IPO and you have to fill this for getting shares of some company. And that time he asked me to pay 1,000 rupees. I said, "No sir, that was half of my salary." He said, "Yes, yes, you have to pay this one. You will get a lot of money out of this after some time." So I blindly believed in him and filled up that form and went to the bank and put it in something I got. And that yes, I did make money on that because that was the NBFC at that time. Coming at public issue, 10 rupees share for 10 rupees. Now it is 900 and something today. So that's different. But that's how I got it. Introduced to that, but you need some mentors or some expert like that whom you can only believe. So that is one. I would say believe in people who practice it. Never believe in agents who sell it. That is another advice I will give you. Never believe in agents who want to sell you something. You believe in your friends who practice it. If somebody says I do this, you ask him, "तुम दिखाओ तुम्हारे पास है क्या?" You invest in this, fine, I will do that. You can do that blindly because that other person is doing it. If somebody doesn't show you what they do, don't believe in them. Telling is not good enough. Make sure. If somebody tells you, "मैं share खरीदता हूँ," तो तू कौन सा खरीदता है बता. दिखा किधर है report में. Don't tell me only. If you are willing to show me, then I am able to put my money to buy that. Otherwise, no. Even if you tell me whatever. And any agent telling you anything, never believe in it. Agents are there to sell you and make money. They are not there to help you. So that is another advice I would say. Never go to agent first. You go to agent only when you are sure what you want to do. It is an agency. It's a way or a means of doing it. Not the way to get advice. Learning you have to do on your own. Never learn from agents. Or you can learn from agents, but learn it with a very big piece of salt. ये क्या होता है सब गलत है. Start with that assumption. Never start with that assumption that the agent knows best and I am going to follow that. No. Agent is here to make money. ऐसा देखने का. उसमें इसको क्या पैसा मिलने वाला है पहला देखो. What is he going to make out of that? Why is he selling me something? And then whether I will make money or not is the next question. Because everywhere agent makes money. So they will try to sell you any store to make things in the world. Don't worry about it. Answers your question? Yes. That's another thing of personal finance, I would say yes. Some minimum education on personal finance. Yes. Anyone else? You can ask anything. You can relate to your studies also, or whatever you believe, or whatever you have doubts about your own career.
You can stop now. Let's move towards Shitikai plus Marmari, which will be continued for 3 minutes. Inhalation through mouth and during exhalation, sound should be made like Brahma. You can start now.
Good morning, sir. I am Srushti. My question is to you is as a MBA student who are taking a HR in a specialization, that time which field is best for us, IT or non-IT?
You are specialized in HR.
Yeah.
So HR is non-IT, that's my belief. HR is not IT field. Because HR basically deals with people and people are not computers. If you are choosing HR as a field, you must be more sensitive to people issues and what people believe and what is their feeling about the employer, about the company, about working there. That should be your focus. Yes, IT systems you have to use only for collecting data. So there is a lot of data to be collected, a lot of reports to be created, a lot of calculations to be done. So you need to believe or understand those IT systems to that extent. But as a HR professional, your key role is to keep employees happy. Right? So happiness of employees is not measured by IT systems. So that is your key role. You have to ensure the empathy of the people. It's a very difficult role. Because for me, I am more IT person, so I find it very attractive and very glamorous to HR managers kind of their work. How can they talk and convince so many people to do something or not to do something? I never get that. Because I say, no, IT system करते हैं करो ना क्या सोचने का क्या है? Why are you worried about it? Why are you angry about something? Why are you upset about something? Yes, HR has that biggest problem to figure out why people feel something, whether they are happy with something, not happy with something, what is to be done to make them happy. IT system will not answer all the time. Okay? It has to have human answers. It is not necessary for you to get into IT, but yes, since HR has to do a lot with IT, it is a helping tool, so to say. So use it as a tool. Don't be an expert in IT. Find out what technologies exist, get help from IT experts, and then get whatever you want to get done. What you want to get done is not IT. IT is only a tool for you. Right? So don't get into everybody else wants an IT job, that's why you don't get into it. Unless you don't want HR, that's other part. You want to do HR job or you want money, that's a separate question. Because there are some more paying jobs. If you ask me the best paying jobs, they are only finance, nothing else, not IT also. People have a wrong belief that IT jobs pay more. No. The best paid people are virtual VC funders, if you ask me. Venture capitalists, they are the people who get maximum money.
You can stop now. Let's start meditation, which will be continued for 2 minutes. Everyone should be in Dhyana Mudra, backbone should be straight, eyes should be closed. Start now.
अभी जो यंग जनरेशन है जो MBA के बाद जो स्पेशलाइजेशन चूज कर रहा है तो मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स आर चूजिंग द फाइनेंस सो अभी हम लोग जो करंट सिचुएशन देख रहे हैं जो टाटा गूगल में है जो अभी TCS में निकाले जो कंपनी को एम्प्लॉयज को जो किक आउट कर रहे हैं तो अपकमिंग जनरेशन में हम लोग फाइनेंस अगर चूज करेंगे तो यार हमारा जॉब खा जाएगा ऐसा सब लोग का चल रहा है तो इट इज़ द बेस्ट फॉर फ्यूचर चूजिंग द फाइनेंस.
The question is whether we should choose finance as an option in MBA because there are certain jobs which are at risk, right? That's what you are saying.
Yes.
Yes. All the jobs are going to be at risk because depending on the changes in technologies, depending on what people start liking more, starting liking less, you can never be sure what job is going to last long. That's for sure. So don't choose a job based on कि वो permanent रहेगा कि नहीं. That permanent job, whatever brain mindset was there, was not in our generation. It was my parents' generation. My parents had a generation where एक बार जॉब मिल गया तो जिंदगी भर जॉब करने का कैटेगरी में चले. In our generation we are not there, and in your generation you have to look at next 3 years only. कि 2-3 साल ये जॉब मिलने लगे तो wonderful. If 3 years that job is going to last, great. उसके बाद में क्या है पता नहीं. That will be your life. So don't worry about that. The way to worry about is try to understand the recent trends which are happening. So always be alert about the trends in whatever field you choose. Whether it is finance, it is IT, HR or marketing or whatever.
You
need to
can
understand
stop
what is the latest trend.
now. Let's start.
What is new thing
Last
happening in
time
it?
clapping,
Where is it that other
which
people
will
are
be
doing?
continued for 1 minute. Let's start clapping with the sequence of slow, fast. Continue.
Okay, so that's the way it is going to be. Be alert and be flexible enough to keep changing your tracks. In current generation, you don't have a choice of not changing your tracks. You have to change. So whether it is this, that, and all these things work together. So it's not only finance, it's not only IT, it's not only marketing. I would say the better mix you have of multiple skills, the better it is. Instead of trying to be too good at something unique. So the way currently what theory is there is on-demand learning. Have you heard of that? On-demand learning means अभी क्या करने का उसके लिए कितना सीख लेंगे. So you learn only that one. And then that
You
much
can
for your job.
stop now.
Wonderful, because after
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Right? So no need to become an expert in something today. There were some experts in the world earlier that they knew everything about some subjects. you don't get into that because that subject will become obsolete at some time. So it's a very big risk to become to expert in something great. On-demand learning is the best thing for you to do now. आप भी क्या सीखने गए सीखो उतना काम करो छोड़ो बात. Something else. So keep changing, keep rotating. I would say the more flexible you are, more learnable you are, it will work. For example, when I joined the IT industry, I was one of the first few to join the IT industry. And that time also people realized in the first 5 years of IT jobs, ये सब technology change हो जाए. I started with basic and COBOL and Fortran. Then Fortran language went away. Then COBOL came. When I was doing my job for the first 5 years, there was one big article saying COBOL programs will be obsolete in the next 2 years. And they said, क्या हो गया? अभी तो सीखा COBOL. And then they said, नहीं वो हो गया obsolete. And literally it happened. After 5 years, COBOL was not used. After 2000 was the last year. Then COBOL was great. Everybody went to US on that COBOL expert day. After that, it was nowhere. Now then people learn Java, and they learn something C++. So all these technologies are changing all the time. So VB was one more, Visual Basic was one great tool that time when I started. Now nobody uses it. So IT industry has learned it for the last 20 years that you keep changing every time now and then. Others have not learned yet. They have only learned that they have to learn IT now. That is the only thing that all other industries have learned now. So we think about IT सीखना पड़ता है. But their technologies are not changing. Mechanical engineering has not changed, civil has not changed. They continue doing the same thing for the last 50 years. Might change. Finance is the first which will get affected by IT. And with blockchain technology and all these new technologies which are coming, finance is definitely getting affected. Education is getting affected, for sure. Marketing is getting affected, for sure. So these fields, if you want to go into, all are the MBA fields, by the way. So if you want to get into marketing, you want to get into finance, you want to get into IT, they are going to change all the time. HR is only one which is less likely to change because people opinion and orientation doesn't change too much. But yes, you have in HR also big challenges. Expert in HR there, where you have all these generations. So please understand all those generations which have a very good theory around it. Generation Z, Generation W, whatever, baby boomers, whatever the categories are there. Yes. I have talked to a lot of people of all those categories and their thinking is really different. So you have to understand what are those people and now you have to worry about people who are born in 2000. Because those are the audiences around you, right? All those born 2000 and beyond that. There are still theories in HR to come for that. HR I think has come only after the theory of people born before 2000. People born after 2000, how many of you are born? All of you, right? After 2000? Anyone before 2000? No? तो HR में जाके पढ़ो भी कि तुम्हारे के जनरेशन को क्या बोलते हैं? They are not defined yet. Because you are not come to a job. Since you are not coming to the job market, people who are born after 2000, HR has no idea ये लोग क्या करते हैं job में आके. They have no idea about it. So right now they have divided up to generation who are born till 2000. They are called Z, what? Generation Z, millennials, right? So there are more people coming up. The younger generation next to you that will be coming up will be only AI born. So they will understand AI much more than what you understand. You have started knowing AI today, right? The people who are kids who are 2-3-year-old today, they will be born with AI tools, so to say. They will be born with AI skills, so their skills will be quite different than yours. So if you are becoming 40 at that age, you have to change. Those people are going to know something different, certainly. What they will know, you don't know. That's how it is. And be sure about it. You talk to 5 years kid, you will realize which you don't know. They are different kids. And this generation gap, nowadays I would say it's, earlier it was a bigger gap, now it is like every 5 years it is changing, 5 to 6 years. Some of my relatives who are 20-year-old, some are 15-year-old, some are 10-year-old. Within themselves they say, oh, other generation can know. I don't know. I thought all of them are in the same generation because for me it's a big difference of age. वो 15 साल का है कि 20 साल का है, for me they are same. But they say, oh, how come we are not same? We are quite different. Agreed. So earlier it was that 20 years slot, now it has come to 10 years and 5 years, maybe 2 years. That is like theory under there. There are HR experts will keep creating theories. कितने साल का gap करने because they will go by real data. But yes, you have to keep changing. Don't worry about which job is currently the best or not the best, whatever. That's how it is. And those stable jobs are also likely to go. You have to get into contract jobs, you have to get into short-term contracts. That's what I would say. If you can make any kind of deals in a short term, that's the best thing for your generation. Those long terms, okay. All that generation is gone. Earlier there was a lot of weightage given to what is that, how many years of service you have. If you look at government jobs, they are automatic increments based on number of years. Are you going to? That's all wrong. So earlier it was very much valued, how long service you have. Right? It keeps changing. You have to believe in that. New generation will be. So make it shorter. I would say look at next 2-3 years for your generation right now. That's what it is. Not more than that. Next 3 साल future चल रहा है तो चल दो. And that is where this learn on demand and this अभी क्या चलता है उतना करो. Don't get into something which will work after 5 years. वो सोचो ही कुछ. You are not going to work. Don't spend too much of your brain on thinking कि 10 साल के बाद क्या करने का है, 20 साल के बाद क्या करने का है. Our generation had that thought. When I want to purchase a house, I would say 30 years के बाद वो I am going to stay in that house or not. New generation they say 5 years I stay in this house, then good, I'll buy this house. 5 years later and see what to do with that. I ask them what do you do with that? See, बेच देगा, दूसरा लेगा, तो करेगा. I don't know what I will do after 5 years. I think it's good for their generation, for your generation it's good. Because your life changes so much. You have to live. Don't live the way they live. When you want to make a problem, don't live the way your parents live. That is another thing I will tell you. Most of you are influenced by your parents. I would say they are the last people to influence you. I being a parent, my daughters are in US and they have a completely different culture. So I realized that there is no point in parenting them. They are much more smarter than what I understand, or their needs are completely different than what I understand. So I accepted that I don't understand what you are doing. You do whatever you like. And they don't also ask me. That is the better way. So don't do that. Don't stick too much to what your parents say because their will are not going to change. You have to build your own views. Look around what's happening in the world. Look around your peers. I think your alumni groups, your peers are much more influential in understanding and you will get better input from them than from your parents. Do that. There are still many parents who keep telling you ऐसा job करो, but I keep telling parents also nowadays that don't try to do something with your children. Their life is different. That is not your life. Your life was different. Your value system was different. Their value systems are different. So don't try to impose this. It will not work. Okay? Yes, you know next?
As a student, मैं अगर कुछ का स्टार्टअप शुरू करना हो, तो मैं किस फील्ड में स्टार्टअप शुरू करना चाहिए? As a student.
See, there is nothing like a field to do a startup. Startup should come from within. You must have a drive to do something. And that something is what you like to do. Every field can have a startup. If you have a great liking for doing something, research on that part. So you have to look at that, what is to be done. For all startups, I would say the biggest challenge for a startup is you should be an all-rounder for a startup. So you should know technology, to know what you are doing. You should know marketing, how to get the customers for it. You should know HR, how to deal with a lot of people who are going to help you. So first, learn to deal with people who will help you with that startup as mentors, as customers, as your friends, as your co-workers, whomsoever you want. And finally, you need to worry about finances, how much money you have. Because startups doesn't pay fast. So if you can sustain on your own, you have parents' money, you have somebody's money, somebody giving you money to survive, that's the way. There are many people who would like to do a startup, but I would seriously recommend you not to do a startup unless you are well off. Your parents have enough money to fund you, or you have some sources to fund yourself. Because I have seen this happen. Some of the people who, because I have been mentoring a lot of people, I have mentored a lot of